Gutierrez, and I'll be presenting language and gender. Language. Has language changed through time, or has education been a factor toward a change in language? Education and language. There are different levels of education in a person that makes them express themselves in different ways. Or they are educated, or they just don't know any better, or they just decide to follow trends, or the people they choose to hang out with. Social status is where education comes in and creates a factor toward the change in language within men and women. In many parts of the world, men are still expected to spend longer times in school. Women's social status makes them appear to be submissive to men, and women are named, titled, and addressed too much different than men. Education in a big change in women. Women became conscious about the status they wanted, so they wanted better positions in society, so they began to improve themselves. They began to be more educated, more know things, expand their vocabulary just as men, and stop being the specters. Instead, they begin to be the assertive roles. My hypothesis towards this research paper is that education has to do with the change women did throughout the years with language. To prove my hypothesis, I used 20 students ranging from 18 to 25 years old, different majors, cultures, and points of views. It was made online and distributed throughout Mexico and the United States, and I chose these students because I knew how different they are, the way they see things, and the environment they are today. For my survey, I chose to ask 5 questions. Do you believe the way women use language has changed over the years? Do you believe education has to do with the change? Examples. Is it a good thing or the worst? Or is there another factor that contributes to the change? And for this, do you believe the way women use language has changed over the years? Females try so hard to fit in and be the best at everything that they don't realize society has molded them to be someone different. Therefore, they have changed their language in order to be accepted in this evolving society. But today, women are more confident to raise their voice, express opinions and thoughts in order to be heard when oppressive actions harming us making us feel less worthy than men. And as you can see, 100% agree that it has been a change. Do you believe education has to do with the change? As the years gone by, education has become more ability to women, therefore giving them the necessary tools and abilities to raise their voices, be understood, and should not exist a gender difference between men and women. Believe that education didn't have a fact. Education has nothing to do with it, and it's just the way that women want to fit in society. And as we can see, 80% agree that education did for women, 20 disagree, 40 agree, and 60 disagree. Exactors from women of language changing over the years. Women do anything in order to express their thoughts and be pressured by government to treat themselves equal as men. They raise their voice against oppression, the impact in education. Women use language and express themselves has increased the number of female journalists, activists, and high-position government jobs. In the negative side, it's more toward women not caring how they sound when speaking and tend to speak like a man. Is it a good or a bad change? Women used to express themselves has to be heard not only within the country but all the world. These movements have made an international effect. For the ones who believe it was worse, it was more toward women wanting to be the same as men in the aspect of language and talking like men. But for the mixed feelings, it was more toward their voice or opinions, ideas, ensure to receive equal opportunity. But it's more toward preserving the beauty of language. As we can see, it was for good both and worse. For women, 80% believe it was a good change, 20 disagree, and for the worse, nothing. And for men, it was more toward 40, 40, 20. And this is just together. Do you believe there is another factor that's more dominant? Yes, it was social media. The impact, it was more to women wanting to fit in instead of playing the role they did many years ago with education. And they have many restrictions for over the use of language, and that can be a positive impact for them. It began to be a revolution for women's empowerment and create a negative impact in how women use language because they're more into let's fit in instead of to be heard because of the influence the platforms have bring them today. My results for this hypothesis when I started the research paper was that education was the factor. But as we can see,